Fight!
Happy Halloween, WakPak! Nick here, and welcome back to the channel. To celebrate spooky season correctly, one of my Discord followers suggested that I should do all finishers ranked covering Terrordrome 2. I just want to say thank you, Chip, for the suggestion. As someone who loves horror media and fighting games, this is a very fun mixture of these two elements to make something very fun. The cool thing about this game is that it's now covering cryptids and other various horror creatures that are public domain or their own interpretation, and this time around, they actually have proper fatalities. So let's get to ranking these. Now, I don't have a gaming PC to play or capture all of the footage, so huge shout out to both of these channels. Consider liking both of their videos and subscribing to their content. Now, there are 24 finishers in this game, so if you see one that ranks really low, I don't think it's bad. All of these are really good in their own way. Just one slightly edges out over the other one, and I'll explain what stands out for each of these and what makes them so special. So let's waste no time and jump scare, into ranking all 24 of Terrordrome 2's finishers. Sadly, taking the bottom spot is the mean side of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde's cranial trepanation. Yeah, if you know me, gun-based finishers aren't my favorite. For someone unique like Mr. Hyde, seeing him just input back forward 1 4 times like MK9 Striker feels like a big missed opportunity. Maybe in a future update, if the head explodes, then maybe this could go up a bit higher. Not terrible at all, but not a big bang. Jumping into number 23 with the Vampire Hunter. No, not Simon, Richter, or Abraham Lincoln, but Alex Van Helsing. For being an awesome character, his first finisher is quite a hot one. Van Helsing hits them with the mini green spirit bomb, which engulfs the opponent in flames, burning them to a crisp. It's a cool take on this style of finisher, using magic to burn them. This one kind of reminds me of Jago's Super Endokuken Fatality from Killer Instinct 2, and if that was intentional, a great finisher to reference. Sparking into the 22nd spot with Dr. Frankenstein's creation with Fried Alive. Clearly he doesn't have an air fryer, so Frankenstein's monster improvises and pulls something like MVC Thor would do, mighty sparking the floor of the arena, electrocuting the opponent and burning them to a crisp. Yeah, it's pretty similar to Alex Van Helsing's finisher that we just previously looked at, but I prefer this one as it's more flashy and has more of that shock value. Yeah, sorry for the bad pun, moving on. The Count himself, Dracula, waltzes in at number 21 with Zombification. We've seen plenty of finishers where a projectile causes the opponent to be burnt to a crisp, but I like this one as it does something a little different. Decay the opponent and turn them into a zombie. Also, a fun detail where if you do this on the Wendigo, they just break apart, reminding me of Glacius's finisher in KI Classic. In the end, people hit with zombification will be faced with grave consequences. Entering the top 20 with Mr. Hyde's second finisher, Brutal Stabbing. For a finisher with a straightforward title, there's way more to this than treating them like the victim in a slasher film. He uses his brutal strength to beat them down into the ground, kind of reminding me of Luke's Pale Rider, but way bloodier. After a few wallops to the face, he goes all stabby and goes for a few blows with his knife. A fun way to highlight a more brutal side of Mr. Hyde, but sadly he closes out right here. Watch closely at number 19 as we're looking at the Invisible Man's first fatality, Delicious Decapitation. No, he's not pulling some reptile hidden chomp, but pulls out this thing, which jumps up high and eats their head clean off. Yeah, I can't blame you, you're not you when you're hungry. It's a creepy and unique twist for a decapitation. Maybe the Invisible Man could be more transparent with us and tell us where he found this little thing. Next up on our hot streak of decapitation finishers by looking at Sasquatch. When he's not singing with Jack Black, he's giving them a brain hemorrhage, screaming so loud to the point their head explodes, making Sindel proud. That or he just hit a really high note in Master Exploder or something like that. Also, kudos to the team for updating this finisher in a previous version of this game, their ears would just be spurting with blood as they fell over, but to make it more impactful, they went with a bloodier head pop. Great work, Team 2, pop off on this one. Our next decapitation comes from the Spring Heel Jack, titled the Izuna Decapitation. With his wrist blades, he stabs into their collarbones, which takes them down to their knees. He proceeds to stab them into the gut, and then leap into the air like a flying Grayson, then goes all Ryu Hayabusa by Izuna dropping their head into the ground, turning it into a paste. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, and it's cool to see an Izuna drop turned into a finisher. Let's hope that the Mortal Kombat team is taking notes and can do a finisher like this in the next title. Like the opponent's head, it would be flat out awesome. Taking a second look at the Monster Hunter, Alex Van Helsing with Cranial Split. Already big bonus points for including his very adorable purebred good boy to take down the opponent and chomp on them. After some super effective bites, he comes in with his axe shotgun hybrid and swings down, giving the final blow. Now, even though you don't get to see the final strike done to the opponent, I love the emphasis of implied violence with this one. Guess Alex just wanted to ask the opponent a question. Instead, they were giving a head-splitting headache. Yet another head-bashing based finisher coming from Frankenstein with Smashed Face. This feels somewhat similar to Alex Van Helsing's, but I think this one's a little bit more effective. Opening up with a command grab and then shocking them, he flips them over onto their back and then proceeds to smash their face in with his hammer. What I really like about this one is that a lot of the strikes are just off camera, shot in a very unique way. You don't need to see the after effect of their face being beaten into a pulp, but your imagination just paints that picture for you. It's all implied violence that just works really well here. Guess you can say this finisher leaves the opponent quite hammered. At number 14, we're already looking at the second of Spring Heel Jack's finishers, this being Disintegrated Sternum. Jack channels his Suhao Deadly Alliance fatality and shoots some laser out of his chest into theirs. After burning the front of their chest, it actually pierces through them, and it does a really fun camera trick, showing Jack and then zooming back through the hole in their chest, really reminding me of that one scene from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003. Holy moly, this was a unique finisher. At number 13, this is probably going to be a controversial pick, but this is actually going to the Lady in White's Burnt at the Stake. Now, I do think a lot of this is very effective, opening with a Sunday driver hitting the opponent, flipping them into the air and landing on top of an electrical chair. They get shocked for a few seconds and then summons a giant stake, and then they burn to a crisp on it. You'd think I'd place this one higher for all of the things going on, but honestly it feels a little too overkill for me. Instead, I really wish the car hit them and then they fell on the stake and then burned to a crisp. That, or have it end with the electrical chair and maybe having their head pop or something. Having both that could be enders feels a little too overkill for me. But don't misconstrue my words as I'm not liking this one, I still think it's a very fun finisher. Already halfway through the list and we're looking at Terrordrome's take on Slender Man, this being Neverman. His first fatality, Erased from Existence, is honestly a creepy but very simple one. They open up their book, which has a bunch of dark magic, it engulfs the opponent in some weird dark looking energy, and next thing you know they're gone. Erased from existence with nothing remaining. It's very simple, but it just gets the job done for me, and it does a wonderful job just coming off as a creepy finisher. You know, with all the book bannings going on, I guess this is one that could be banned. At number 11, we're looking at the second of Sasquatch's finishers, this being Rock Smash. What I love about this is that it has fun with like this space and arena. Grabbing the opponent, jumping at the wall of the stage, then leaping in the air and then slamming them back down. He pulls a giant boulder out of his ass, probably, and while they're lying on their back, he smashes their head with a satisfying crunch. Guess you can say Rock Smash was super effective this time around. We're finally in the top 10 and looking at one of my favorite visual looking characters in this game, this being the Wendigo. I guess the Wendigo is a Sub-Zero main when it comes to Mortal Kombat, as cryogenic obliteration is simple and straightforward but very effective. With his giant claw, he picks them up and uses his frost breath to freeze them solid. He then gets ready for a dinger derby, throws them up, and then swings and shatters them with his club. Probably my favorite way that he topped this off is by doing that roar of his. Man, this finisher is just ice cold. At number 9, we're looking at this. No, that's actually what the character's name is. This. With Disemboweled. Armed with a very groovy chainsaw, you knew it would come in for a very effective fatality. This's body opens up like a zipper and a giant weird alien comes out, bites their shoulder and lifts them off the ground. From there, he lifts the chainsaw and shoves it into their gut, completely eviscerating them. Guts and blood just pouring out of their body, and after he's done, just drops them on their face. It's a great way to implement both the chainsaw and the weird alien quirk this has. Yeah, the opponent shoulda saw something freaky coming. We're cutting right into number 8 by looking at Count Dracula's second fatality, blown to smithereens. Something that was not on my bingo card before working on this video was seeing a finisher that makes the body go boom, and of all people, Dracula was gonna do it. With his quick strikes with his blade, this kinda reminds me of Wesker's level 3 in Marvel vs. Capcom. Quick strikes hitting him from side to side, going airborne, but instead of spiking him with the missile, he hits them back down, they get impaled, they catch on fire, and then they just explode. Oh my god, this is so cool. I like how it just showcases more of like that creepy element that vampires have, moving super fast, having immense strength, and even sparkling in light. Okay, my extent of vampire knowledge does stem from Twilight. But you can't deny how cool this finisher is. Guess you can say it's an absolute blast.
You die here. Dracula wins. Death sentence.
It's crazy, after all of this time, at number 7, we're looking at one of the most iconic urban legends, Bloody Mary with Impaled by Glass. Now, this may be a very simple finisher, but I love all of these elements that this has, and just how fitting it is to the character. Summoning a giant mirror and then cracking it, sending a bunch of giant jagged pieces at the opponent, impaling them. What I love is that it's just pieces of the mirror that she uses to summon herself into the arena. Something that's just very fitting to the character. It's also just very snappy, just gets right to the point. It's so good and fast-paced, the opponent didn't have time to reflect on themselves.
Reality hurts.
Bloody Mary wins.
Closing out the Wendigo at number 6 with Spinal Fold. Hey, if you can't book a chiropractor in the world of Terrordrome, just leave it to the Wendigo. He creepily bends backwards and a giant bone wheel shoots out of his stomach. It saws the opponent for a little bit until they get stuck on it and then flip around a little bit, and for some shock value, they awkwardly contort, leading to them bending in half. Very shocking to witness, but if you have lumbar issues, you probably need something like this. But as a fun side note, the Wendigo is really good at Texas Hold'em. With his hand, the opponent always folds. We're finally cracking into the top 5 by looking at the Lady in White's musical ending. This feels pretty similar to Bloody Mary's Impaled by Glass, but instead of glass shards flying at them, it's just a bunch of debris and random objects, some of which hitting the opponent and some actually impaling them. After getting hit by plenty of objects, you think it's over, and then the opponent looks up and they recreate the one death from Final Destination Bloodlines, as a giant piano falls on them and crushes the opponent. Not gonna lie, the first time I saw this, I got a big chuckle out of it. I don't know, something about this finisher wrapping up the way it did, completely unexpected with the musical instrument crushing them, it's pretty low key, honestly.
Your soul is...
Taking a second look at Terrordrome Slender Man with Swallowed Whole. Remember how in Army of Darkness there was the one Necronomicon that bit Ash on the hand? Have you ever wondered how much further something like that could have gone? Well, Neverman Swallowed Whole proves that to us. He puts the book on the ground with the pages open, grabs them and then slams them into it, and the book just starts eating them, leaving nothing behind. It's quick, effective, and creepy. Guess you can call this one the Necronomicon.
Neverman wins. sentence.
Taking the bronze medal is Invisible Man's Chiropractic. This sees the Invisible Man disappear, confuse the hell out of the opponent, and summon some giant creature thing that reminds me of Scorpion's animality, pins them to the ground and hits them with their claws. This kind of reminds me of my cats when they try scratching at my feet and they don't realize how much it hurts. After poking several holes in them, they get thrown in the air, the pincers catch the opponent, and what I like is it doesn't actually rip them in half, instead just breaking their spine and dropping their limp body. It definitely went in a direction I was not expecting, but I loved it. This one didn't bug me in any way. Our runner-up goes to one of Rain's biggest phobias. This is clownification. This, as in the finisher, is insanely creepy. The clown opens up its body and shoots out a bunch of purple goop, completely covering the opponent from head to toe. Unlike Reptile's UMK3 Acid Yak, this is a fate worse than death, as the opponent becomes a clone of this. Uniform, voice, mysterious origins, and all. Turning into a creepy monster instead of dying is absolutely terrifying, and for its creativity alone, it deserves to be placed this high on the list. Guess you can say clowning around can get you somewhere.
Oh, hello there.
And coming in at number 1 is Bloody Mary's second finisher, Eaten Alive. She shows them something wicked alright, not the Witch of the West, but some giant blood monster coming from the ground. This creature bites down on them with its teeth made of sharp shards of glass and thrashes them around, reminding me a bit of Liu Kang's dragon finisher from MK4. But this monster swallows them whole, a great way to wrap it up. I love how Bloody Mary walks back up and pets their face as the finisher closes out. It's just a fun little touch at the end of this. This is such a crazy finisher, super creative and very fitting to Bloody Mary. Guess you can say this finisher is just that bloody good.
Want to see something wicked?
And there you have my ranking of every single finisher from Terrordrome 2, ranked from the worst to the best. Which one of them was your favorite, and which one of them was your least favorite? Be sure to put yours in the comment section down below, and let's have a fun discussion about it. Also, if you want to support Terrordrome 2, consider clicking the link in the description down below to check out their website. I thought you'd all appreciate this bonus ranking for Spooky Season. It's been a game I've been considering covering for quite some time, and I thought Halloween is a perfect time to do that. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and share. Your support truly means a ton. I can't thank you all enough. And speaking of all finishers ranked, I have a few more installments coming out very soon, such as Mortal Kombat Classic 2, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and so on. And when it comes to all costumes ranked, I have all Jin Kazama costumes in the works right now, so stay tuned to my community tab and my social media channels for any updates on those. As always, thank you so much for your continuous support. My name is Nick, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Fight!